God, these women are incredible. And to them, I would say, fight, because we need them. Yeah, we need them.
And this is something that a lot of Democrats are grappling with right now. Is they've nominated women 2 of the last 3 elections for the presidency, lost both. There are some who say, well, we can't do that again. The stakes are too high. But of course, that does fall into the same misogynistic trap.
Other countries have no problem electing women.
Tonight's red hot video, courtesy of Mrs. Morning Joe, Mika, claiming Abigail Spanberger isn't running away with the gubernatorial race in Virginia because Americans are sexist. Wasn't this Mika posing provocatively a baker's dozen year ago for a Vanity Fair article entitled MSNBC's Hot Ticket? Not only does this reek of hypocrisy, but Mika's forgetting a critical component about Abigail Spanberger's opponent. Winsome Sears is not only a woman, she's a black, Jamaican-born former Marine. So what on earth is Mika talking about here? Maybe the issue isn't that Abigail Spanberger is a woman, but the issue is candidate quality, the fact that she won't denounce men and women's sports, won't denounce Jay Jones after some pretty horrific text messages. What do you think, Foldy?
I mean, Elizabeth, I don't think Abigail Spanberger could tell you what a woman is. I think that's one of the issues, and that's why one of the reasons why the race is so close. I actually think using the Democrats' twisted logic here, anyone who votes for Abigail Spanberger is racist because they're not voting for Winsome Sears because she is black. And the thing when you think about it, this was said on Morning Joke, as we sometimes call it. I actually think that show reeks of sexism. It should be called Morning Mika. Otherwise, they're sidelining a woman. I don't think that Vanity Fair thing is sexist, however, because I saw that spread. There was nothing hot about it whatsoever.
What do you think, Curtis?
I knew that there was something going on. Even in 2012, when I saw those two do that shoot, I'm thinking, that's weird. They're both married. Never mind. Okay.
Listen, you don't want to intern for Joe Scarborough. I'll just say that.
And that's Morning Mika is her Twitter handle, so that's another funny thing. It's all about her. MS Now, as it's soon to be called, is not doing well right now. I mean, they don't really have a grasp of the facts. They're really too stupid to know who's running. Their viewers probably don't even know about Jay Jones' speeding scandal or his text messages. If you tried to ask them about it, they would make it up. They'd say that's not true, or some sort of Russian plot, of course. And to your point, Foldy, about Abigail Spanberger, she gave a recent interview where she suggested that we need to give grace. We need to give grace to those who want to be men and participate in girls' sports. So, I still
think she's the odds-on favorite to win.
What does that say
governor for Virginia? Because it's usually the election after a presidential is a kind of a reversal, because there's a lot of Virginia Democrats that want to show fight to Trump. And if you looked at the No Kings rallies,
they're Virginia.
There's thousands of people.
Close race, but as Curtis alluded to, perhaps another reason Spanberger isn't running away with her race for Virginia is that she needs 6.5 minutes to answer a simple question from Katie Couric.
What are your thoughts on youth sports allowing trans athletes to participate?
There's multiple levels of it. There's a lot of people who've never met a trans person. Demonstrate a fair amount of grace to people who are confused about when we're talking about bathrooms or when we're talking about sports participation. Like what are we talking about? The willingness to fearmonger with or against kids who are trying to figure out who they are, who are in a challenging point in their life. It's an interesting time, and the television ads certainly are creative.
To summarize all that, Spanberger wants athletes that play in girls' sports to have a competitive physical advantage. So once again, we have a Democrat running into the issue that I think is a big issue for Democrats in 2024, which is that 80%, probably more, of voters do not think biological males should compete in women's sports because of the biological advantage that they have there. And Abigail Spanberger is, unfortunately for her, seemingly on the wrong side of this issue. What do you think?
Spanberger's comments, basically, it makes Kamala Harris's word salad sound coherent.
She was a CIA agent. This is not good.
They don't do writing and speech tests of the CIA.
Spanberger could not explain her way out of this mess as she created. By the way, I can't believe Katie Couric is even still around. But like, for real, this shows how the Democrats, they're so out of touch with
Any
this
Democrat
issue.
would give the same answer,
It's very
by the way.
clear that boys, biological men, should not be playing in girls' sports. It's basic. It's what has been the center of the fight in places like Loudoun County and in Fairfax County, where this has been a big issue. And I do hope that those Republicans and those independents and even those Democrats wake up and say, look, we cannot have an extremist, a radical candidate like Spanberger becoming the next governor.
But Winsome Sears has had her own controversies. I reported about how she compared DEI to slavery multiple times. She denied it, and then I had a video of her doing that. And so there's a lot of kind of confused thinking in that Republican versus Democratic race.
Yeah.
You think DEI is the same as slavery?
No, I don't think that, Daniel. But what Abigail Spanberger is saying is that she doesn't understand the fundamentals of biology. This is not something that can be explained away.
I think she probably understands it, but she doesn't want to lose her base.
And what does that say? What does that say? That Daniel is right, that if Abigail Spanberger acknowledged biology, she would lose her base.
You're right. Even in dark blue Virginia, Northern Virginia, this is something that parents care about. We saw that in the election of Governor Youngkin. Pivoting to the polarizing New York City mayoral race, which had its final debate this evening, I asked President Trump about it yesterday, and he was pretty blunt about the path Zoran Mamdani will have to take.
Mr. President, a new poll shows that if Curtis Sliwa dropped out of the New York mayoral race, then Andrew Cuomo would only trail Mamdani by 4 points. Would you call Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race so that can happen?
Well, I looked at the polls, and looks like we're going to have a communist as the mayor of New York. It'll be very interesting. But here's the good news. He's got to go through the White House. Everything goes through the White House. At least this White House it does.
Sounds like President Trump has not made his decision about whether or not he's going to get involved, and Curtis Sliwa is no closer to dropping out. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, no, I think it would be beneficial politically for Trump to have Mamdani to kind of beat around for the next 3 years, and for Republicans to use him as kind of a battering horn.
No.
But coming up, President Trump hosts